Good morning and welcome to the video for Thursday, August the 6th. This is going to be a video for our upcoming fourth graders. I did find one more thing for us to take a look at. There will be an entire chapter working with different units of measurement, whether it's metric or the traditional units of measurement that we're used to using here in the United States. And so one of those lessons is going to be working with benchmarks. And so the idea of a benchmark is to give an estimate of what type of unit of measurement we should use to measure a specific thing. And we're usually going to get two options to choose from. So let's go ahead and take a look at our examples. So if I am working with mass, we're going to be using grams and kilograms. So 1 gram would be roughly the mass or weight. We try to not use the word weight when we're using that, but that's kind of what we're talking about because we can measure it on a scale. 1 gram would be roughly the mass of a paperclip, whereas a kilogram would be the mass of a textbook. So a strawberry is very light. We could probably use a certain number of paper clips or centimeter cube, the 1 gram centimeter cubes that we would have in the classroom and put each thing on one side of a balance and eventually get that to balance out. So strawberry would probably be better to measure in grams. For our length, we would be using meters. 1 meter would be a little bit less than a yard, so about 3 feet. It's somewhere between 2.5 and 3 feet for a meter. Compared to a kilometer, which would be 1,000 times longer than that. So instead of about 3 feet, we're talking about 3,000 feet. So a little bit over half a mile. And so even though we wouldn't have the length of the cell phone be all the way to meter, it might make more sense for that. Now, we could also use centimeters for that because that would be even smaller. So there are about 3 centimeters in an inch, and we could measure that in inches. So we could either use a very small amount for parts of a meter to get the length of a cell phone, or we could use centimeters. But centimeters would probably be a little bit easier. So now for the next couple, we can compare. So we have two different things. They're both the same unit of measurement. Again, a meter is going to be about 3 feet. So if I had the width of the desk that I have in my classroom, that would be a little bit closer to 3 feet than it would be to 30 feet. And for a punch bowl, we could say that we are closer to probably 20 liters. If you think about those of you that remember doing the Cinco de Mayo or one of the other lunches where we have those larger glass bowls that we make punch in, those would hold much more than 2 liters. If you go to a grocery store, a 2-liter bottle, while it does have quite a lot of fluid inside of it, would not be nearly as much. We could use many of those 2-liter bottles to fill up a punch bowl. And the last one for our metric, or actually this would be traditional or customary units, distance between Seattle and San Francisco. So we would want to travel in a plane to get there quickly. We could drive there, but it would take a very long time to do so. I've driven from San Francisco up into Oregon before, but not all the way up into Washington, much less all the way up to the coast in the northern part of Washington where Seattle's located. So that one would probably be better to represent as 680 miles. And let's take a look at a couple of the customary units. I'm just going to do these last few here, 6 through 9. So the length of a football field, we would measure in yards, 100 yards in a football field. The weight of a pumpkin, if we have the option between ounces and pounds, we would probably use pounds. There are very small pumpkins that we could measure in ounces, but usually we are going to measure those in pounds. The weight of a watermelon, again, we're probably going to use pounds for that unless it's just a very tiny watermelon. But most of the watermelons that we might buy at a store are actually going to be larger than 4 pounds as far as the weight. And then the amount of liquid a fish tank holds. So a fish bowl might hold closer to 10 cups and would be very tiny, whereas a larger fish tank, like the one in Mrs. Shack's room, would hold 10 gallons, maybe just a little bit more. So those are some examples of things that we might use when we are working with customary units of measurement or metric units of measurement. So those benchmarks are just going to be a rough estimate. They're not going to ask you to give the exact numbers. Now, there will be later lessons where, again, we'll have the exact numbers and you'll have access to doing all the conversions. So you can figure out exactly how much certain things are compared to others. So this is going to be the last video for the summer. I'm going to go ahead and start my next project, which is working on making the math review videos for each lesson. So the way that's going to work, each day, whether you're remote, doing the remote learning and watching the live stream of class, or if you're working in the school building, the idea is for each day there will be a short, probably 2 to 3 minute video that reminds everyone of what we worked on in class that particular day. Excuse me, I'm trying not to yawn and or have other weird things with air getting trapped when I'm breathing. I need to swallow. There we go. So the idea is to make one for each single lesson. And so those will be posted in Google Classroom. So students that have attended class that day, you can go onto Google Classroom and find that particular link in the slide for math for that day. And then if you're working from home, of course, you can just click on that link at any time to pull up a quick walkthrough of what the math problems will be for the homework and what we worked on in class that particular day. So hope you have a great rest of your summer. I look forward to seeing all of you when we do the Meet the Teacher, whether it's going to be in person for you. We're planning on being at the school, but we're also giving the option of families that want to kind of Zoom or conference call in to do it that way. So hope you have a great rest of your summer. I look forward to seeing you in the near future, and goodbye for now.